Well, good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. It is Friday, the 16th of January. This is CTV News. Tonight, China removes tariffs on some seafood, including lobster. We've got reaction. Then seeking support, the lumber industry says the current conditions are not sustainable. And gluten-free living. A Nova Scotia student provides celiac support with her innovative platform.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. Maritime lobster exporters say a sudden breakthrough in trade with China could help revive one of their most important markets. Under the newly announced trade deal, a 25% tariff will come off lobster starting the 1st of March. CTV's Jesse Thomas has more.
The Lobster Council of Canada says exports to China dropped sharply after the 25% Chinese tariff was slapped on seafood exports. Now there's some surprising relief.
Focus on 5 key areas where both our nations stand to make substantial and sustained gains.
As Prime Minister Mark Carney wraps up meetings in China, Ottawa confirms tariffs on Canadian crab and lobster are coming off March 1st.
Oh, it's great news. It's great news. Federal government has been working hard. The delegation that went to China clearly have done a lot of work.
While Canadian lobster faced steep tariffs in China, exporters from other countries moved in to fill the gap.
The Vietnamese lobster, Australian lobster is back in after being out for 4 years. So we got some work to do to make sure they remember us.
So when news broke that tariffs would be rolled back, even industry veterans were caught off guard.
I would say considerable surprise. I thought improvements would follow in the weeks and months to come. I did not expect an agreement of any specific sort today.
20% of Canada's global seafood exports go to China. Before the tariffs, Nova Scotia shipped nearly $600 million worth of live lobster to China each year.
In the last 10 months, our business in the People's Republic of China essentially dried up.
Lamont says he's had clients in China reach out already, a sign the market may be hungry for Canadian seafood. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Dartmouth.
40-year-old man from North Grant has died in an ATV accident in Antigonish County. It's happened in Addington Forts around 5:30 this morning. Police say they responded to reports of a mishap involving one of those machines on Addington Forks Road. The victim was found dead beside the vehicle when officers arrived. Investigators are still trying to sort out what happened. 31-year-old woman from Eastern Passage was rushed to hospital with serious injuries after being hit by a vehicle early yesterday morning. RCMP say it happened around 7:30 a.m. The victim crossing Cow Bay Road at Horns when she was struck by a Volkswagen Jetta. She was rushed to hospital. The driver and lone occupant of the vehicle, 20-year-old woman from Eastern Passage, did not report any injuries. That investigation is ongoing. It was a busy afternoon for first responders around New Minas today. Emergency crews dispatched to a multi-vehicle crash on Highway 101, not far from exit 12. This was around 4 p.m. No serious injuries reported, but EHS also responded to check everybody out. The highway was closed for a time for a cleanup. Snow-covered, icy roads were likely a factor in this one.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
If you gassed up your car today, you already know that prices jumped overnight.
Whatever the price is, I will pay it.
Indeed, most of us don't have a choice in the matter, but the increase was significant. In Nova Scotia, prices for regular unleaded went up nearly 5 cents a litre, and it jumped by almost 4 cents in New Brunswick and PEI.
It's always difficult when we see hikes in gas prices, especially in places like Atlantic Canada or the Maritimes where, driving is not really optional.
It was a bit of a head fake that we saw prices drop as much as we did for the beginning of January. Now, we do see in December, around Christmas time, prices tend to drop generally.
Experts say the current unsettled geopolitics around the world is behind those fuel increases. Frustration seems to be building in New Brunswick's forestry sector these days. Prices for some wood products have steadily declined, and producers insist they need more support. CTV's Laura Brown has more.
Woodlot owner Rick Doucette is adamant. If he can't get a fair price, then his wood will not move.
But there's way too many people out there that, they just don't have the option. They got to pay their bills, and I think in that email you can see that, their revenues are going down, their expenses are going up, and this is a recipe for total disaster.
A letter sent from the Carleton Victoria Forest Products Marketing Board to the province's Natural Resources Minister states some prices are the lowest in a decade. And while mills have been offered support through Ottawa's softwood lumber plan, private producers haven't seen a thing. Is the government's long-term plan for the private forestry sector to just disappear? Because that is what is happening under your watch. The minister wasn't available for an interview, but acknowledged in a statement that prices have been decreasing since October, which, coupled with the almost 10 years of tariffs, are making it increasingly difficult for New Brunswick mills to operate. As a result, the impacts are felt across the entire supply chain.
Value of wood's been going down, and all the expenses and capital costs are going up, and eventually you're going to run into a wall, and everyone's just going to say, okay, I guess we're going to do something else. So I think we're getting close to the wall.
In an email, the province's biggest player, J.D. Irving, maintains prices are competitive, and the company bought a record amount of private wood last year. BDC, the firm handling the tariff support plan, says it hasn't received any requests for help from New Brunswick lumber businesses so far. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
People living in a rural corner of Cape Breton have had enough with recent break-ins and fires, including 2 homes that burned to the ground.
At least 5 places were broken into, 2 were burned to the ground, and this was one of them.
Seamus MacDonald lost his place on January 3rd. It was built by his great-grandfather more than a century ago, and he and his family lived there full-time between May and April every year. Now it's gone.
Devastated. The whole family's been devastated by this, and we have 2 boys who are feeling confused and at a great loss.
Yours could be next. Every time you go away, you don't know what's waiting for you when you come back. It's very, very upsetting.
Cape Breton Regional Police say they've ramped up patrols, but they're hoping tips from the public will help them locate the person or people responsible for all this. City of Halifax eager to get more commuters on its buses and ferries. In fact, the Transit Authority has some new routes. However, as CTV's Callum Smith tells us tonight, riders are still saddled with an old method of paying.
Exact change, pre-purchase tickets or passes, or electronically on the app. Those are the options to pay for transit fares in Halifax.
If it's a debit card and I just tap in and I go straight, then that will be good.
But simply tapping a card or smartphone isn't an option, despite years of talks.
That is really the global standard, so we have some catching up to do. The plan was launched in 2021, and it's 2026 now, so we've really got to get moving here.
No one from Halifax Transit was available for an interview the last 3 days. A city spokesperson says there was a significant delay when it was determined all modems on buses would need to be replaced. That realization coming when these fare validators were installed, something that only wrapped up at the end of 2025. Now that the modems are ready, work is continuing on the open payment system, but the city isn't offering a definitive timeline. The mayor hopes to talk with councillors and Halifax Transit about trying to speed up the process.
I will be very disappointed if it's not this year.
We want to make it easier for transit users, and it would also help visitors to the city because you don't need to have as much familiarity with the system to use your credit card.
There will also be reloadable plastic cards. The city says it won't have a full cost for tap to pay until the rollout is complete. Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
A new arrivals center for international travelers opened at Halifax Stanfield today.
So today we officially opened our International Connections facility. It is a 2-phase project that we undertook several years ago. So if you're staying in Nova Scotia and in Canada, you will go through this big, new, beautiful space that we have launched, officially opening today.
Striking facility designed to allow passengers to get to connecting flights easier and faster. It's considered a key piece of the airport's ability to attract more international flights And we should tell you that celebrated, talented artist Alan Sillyboy designed and decorated the space. Bit of a stressful day for our region's pro lacrosse team today.
Here we go into the second half on
So delays at a Pearson airport because of yesterday's big snowstorm in Ontario naturally impacted Halifax Stanfield. As a result, some of the players were separated from their gear bags during travel, which kind of proved to be good news for one small local business. Players wound up buying new gear at Sport Wheels in Lower Sackville. But alas, game day is not a great time to break in new gear. The Thunderbirds fell to the Colorado Mammoth tonight, 11-6 the final, in front of a packed barn. 10,070 people in attendance, we're told. This drops the hometown heroes to 4 losses and 3 wins. All right, still to come tonight, Kaylin's full forecast, and we'll take a look at the difficult choices that too many Maritimers face at this time of year: food or heat. Coming up next, though, a matter of life and death.
It's a pretty common call for us to respond to either the river or the lakes for ice rescue.
Maritime firefighters practice skills they hope they'll never need. That's next. Stay with us.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter.
We kicked off Passport to Paradise today, giving away 30 trips to beaches, Turks, and Caicos.
You're listening for your passwords every 2 hours from 6A to 6P weekdays.
So activity on Killarney Lake in Fredericton was turning some heads today. Firefighters were updating their water rescue training. As CTV's Avery McRae shows us tonight, the practice is timely given the unsettled weather we've had of late.
As Fredericton residents make plans to skate, fish, or just go for a walk on the city's frozen waterways, its firefighters will be ready if accidents arise.
It's a pretty common call for us to respond to either the river or the lakes for ice rescue.
Over the past 2 weeks, Fredericton fire crews have been coming out to Killarney Lake for ice water rescue training. Crews take turns rescuing one another and even themselves from the frigid waters using a wide range of equipment.
I think our original ice rescue equipment was a life jacket and a piece of rope. And to see everything that our crews are lucky enough to have today, you know, it's been a game changer.
By next week, all Fredericton fire engines will have ice water rescue equipment on their trucks. For crews, getting to train in a public setting is a benefit for the entire community.
I think that it's important for people to see us out doing this, because a lot of the times when people do see us is when something really bad is happening, right? So this is a chance for us to interact with people and, you know, just show them this is what we do and this is why we do it.
Avery McRae, CTV News, Fredericton.
Okay, thank you, Avery. Time for a quick little break, but when we return, it's your complete Maritime weather forecast, and we do seem to have some weather heading our way for early next week. Kaylin Mitchell will tell you all about it when we come back. Friday night, 16th day of January. Holy wind today. My goodness.
Yeah, that picked up in a hurry as we went through the afternoon. Those strong wind gusts, especially for parts of Nova Scotia, drove some areas of flurries and snow squalls, kept temperatures on the way down. It's going to be a cold night for the Maritimes. Cold start to the day for tomorrow. Taking a look at our forecast timeline for cloud cover and precipitation, we're going to be seeing increasing cloudiness in the Maritimes. So we move through Saturday morning, and then that'll be followed up by some snow for some areas. The snow developing through the day across western and southern areas of New Brunswick, and a mixture of some snow and some rain showers expected into the southwest of Nova Scotia. Then as we head into Saturday evening and Saturday night, some of the snow and flurries expected across Prince Edward Island. There'll be some flurries in northern areas of New Brunswick and a continuing mixture of some snow and some rain showers for areas of Nova Scotia. Some snow accumulation is expected out of this. In a lot of cases, it'll be trace amounts up to around 1 to 5 centimeters locally, but there may be some pockets of snow as high as 5 to 10 centimeters. One of the areas that has the highest chance of seeing some of those slightly higher snowfall totals, the southwestern corner of New Brunswick. Now, we were talking about the winds. They were cold today because they were out of the west and the northwest. Tomorrow's wind direction changes. It's going to be a south and southwest wind on Saturday. It's going to be relatively light for New Brunswick with the gusts mostly between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour, but some gusts between 20 and 40 for Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. Temperatures in the forecast for tonight will be falling several degrees below the freezing mark, and some in New Brunswick well down into the minus teens. Edmonton could be as cold as around minus 20. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow around the Maritimes remains colder in the northern half of New Brunswick, between minus 5 and minus 8. But central and southern areas of New Brunswick with some high temperatures between a few degrees below to a few degrees above the freezing mark. Some communities along the Bay of Fundy coastline getting up to around plus 2. For Prince Edward Island for tomorrow, most of the high temperatures between minus 3 and 0. Remains a little bit chillier for Sydney tomorrow with a high near minus 3. Mainland Nova Scotia, though, we'll see some high temperatures coming up between 1 and 5 degrees, so turning a little bit milder. Let's talk about the end of the weekend, though. What's coming up Sunday night into Monday? That's a developing nor'easter making its way up the eastern seaboard of the United States. This one does look like it is going to get close enough to bring some snow to the Maritimes. The potential for that snow to be heavy for parts of Nova Scotia and eastern Prince Edward Island, then likely to be lighter towards central and northern areas of New Brunswick. It's maybe a little bit early to read into specific amounts for specific locations, but here's a general outlook of what I'd expect from this weather system as far as what's being indicated today. Highest potential for some heavy snow that could be 15 centimeters or more for the province of Nova Scotia and Charlottetown and eastern Prince Edward Island. Again, this would be coming down Sunday night through Monday morning, so potentially disruptive for the start of next week. It is possible that some ice pelts and freezing rain mix in with the snow up and down the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia for those coastal areas. And in some cases, that might hold the snowfall amounts just a little bit lower, still slick and slippery, though. And then lighter snow, mostly 5 centimeters or less for much of New Brunswick. Taking a look at the 7-day outlook then, watching for that more active weather to come in Sunday night into Monday. Finishes flurries for New Brunswick on Monday. And then a mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Colder temperatures, maybe some flurries Wednesday night. And colder temperatures hold on towards the end of next week, Thursday and Friday. For Nova Scotia, keep on top of your forecast. Sunday night into Monday, there is the potential for that snow. It's then flurries in the forecast for Tuesday, followed by a mix of sun and cloud on Wednesday. Then we've got a chance of flurries on Thursday and Friday of next week. And for Prince Edward Island, you'll need to watch for some snow Sunday night into Monday morning. It's followed by colder temperatures, flurries in the forecast for Tuesday. Further chance of flurries Wednesday night and on Thursday and Friday of next week. Bruce.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. We'll consult with you before the end of the broadcast for a look at the wake-up weather. In the meantime, stay with us. There is more to come.
Abused for years by a monster.
I thought, I need help.
Behind the worst mass killing in Canadian history.
I'm looking at him, but there was like nothing there.
A shocking story of survival.
Why isn't anybody coming?
In the shadow.
How much of that anger did you feel was directed at you?
All of it.
Of an unthinkable tragedy.
She went from being victim number 1 to public enemy number 1.
A CTV News special Sunday night, right after the game on CTV and Crave.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
When the temperatures drop, the price to warm your home often soars, but not everybody can afford those fluctuations. As CTV's Hafsa Arif tells us tonight, from turning up the thermostat to just throwing on extra clothes, a lot of Maritimers are forced to choose between comfort and cost at this time of year.
At a time when every bill seems to be rising, one monthly charge hits hardest: heat.
This is an emergency fund. It's called the Heat Fund, the Home Energy Assistance Program. It's a one-time top-up, basically, for anybody who might be experiencing some insecurity.
Meant to help people pay off their heating bill. The program launched its 2026 intake just days ago, and demand arrived instantly, with over 800 applications in less than a week.
The heat bill comes, and it doesn't matter if it's oil, propane, wood, electricity, natural gas. You know, if you cannot pay that heat bill, then that fund is there.
Families say every winter dollar matters.
Every single time, it's you look back on the month before and how many kilowatts you used and whatnot, and you're wondering why the math doesn't seem to be adding up, but it's because the prices keep going up.
We try to not overuse the oil. We also have heat pumps, so we try to use those when we can. So given everything that we do, it's always a little surprisingly higher than expected.
The heat fund can offer up to $400 per household, depending on income and family size. And as previous winters, $1 million has been set aside. Hafsa Arif, CTV News.
All right, thank you, Hafsa. Time for one final break on this Friday night. Coming up, a Maritime University student turns her medical diagnosis into a platform to help others. First, though, it's your wake-up weather. Here's a live look at Charlottetown as we approach in the midnight hour. -8, a real swing in the temperatures. Kaylin Mitchell's wake-up weather coming up next. Congratulations, you've made it to the weekend. Saturday morning upon us. We'll kick it off with the wake-up weather and Caitlin.
Yeah, cold start to the day for tomorrow. Partly cloudy with cloud cover continuing to increase as we make our way into the afternoon. That is going to be followed up by some snow and some flurries developing in New Brunswick, especially central and southern parts of that province, and a mixture of some snow and some rain showers coming into the west of Nova Scotia. Flurries may reach northern areas of New Brunswick by the evening, and same thing goes for Prince Edward Island and eastern areas of Nova Scotia. Bruce.
Thank you, Kaylin. Have yourself a good weekend. Well, a student at St. Mary's University has taken her diagnosis of celiac disease and transformed it into a platform to help others. As CTV's Stephanie Seacos tells us tonight, she hopes to use her knowledge to create an app to support others navigating the disease.
Emma McGill is a busy university student, just months away from graduation.
I'm majoring in astrophysics and minoring in anthropology.
On top of school, a job, and keeping up with friends and family, McGill is also an entrepreneur. She created Gluten-Free Living.
It's supposed to act as a hub for people with celiac disease and gluten intolerances to find health information, tax resources, just things to help their everyday health and financial life.
McGill was diagnosed with celiac disease when she was 12. According to Health Canada, as many as 400,000 Canadians live with celiac disease, a condition that causes adverse reactions and damage to the small intestine whenever gluten is consumed.
It's so much more intense than a lot of people realize, because some people think, oh, you just don't eat that one thing, not that big of a deal, or they treat it as like an allergy or intolerance, but actually it's something that can, even just a crumb can do significant damage to your body.
Eventually, she hopes to develop Gluten-Free Living into an app.
I'm just kind of in the initial stages of starting to plan out on what the app is going to look like. The app is the main business idea. In the meantime, I'm kind of trying to help people in as many ways as I can. So recently I've started with building gluten-free markets. So I've had 2 in the last year.
With more to come this year. Stephanie Seacos, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Stephanie. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca. If you want to keep up in the news all weekend long, it is your home for news. That's the broadcast for this Friday night. We're going to leave you this evening, as always, with the names of everybody here at Bell Media. I'm Bruce Frisco. Thank you for staying up late with us, and we hope to see you again on Monday night.